You mentioned Flint, Michigan in the example there, and it reminded me of the auto industry. This is a discussion about middle income families, and the auto industry in my state, Tennessee, has been a story of raising family incomes, of creating more middle income families. It also reminds me of a book that late David Halberstam wrote in the late 1980s, where he described the American automobile industry centered in the Midwest as non-competitive, with high costs, high labor prices, sort of an oligopoly, as he described it, unable to compete with Japanese and German car manufacturers. What happened was that when President Carter said to the governors in the 80s, go to Japan and persuade them to make in the United States what they sold in the United States, they came for the first time to Tennessee. And one of the reasons was the central location of the state in the marketplace. But an equally important reason was the right-to-work law, which created a different environment for labor relations than was found in the Midwest. Do you agree that states should have the right to enact right-to-work laws?
Senator Alexander, I recall the first time that I came before this committee, you asked me a similar question. Mm-hmm. And I believe my response was that states ought to be able to do what they find in their best interests. And given the situation, there are many states that are right-to-work states, and there are many that are not. And as I said earlier, my role is to help people right now find jobs, and good jobs. In fact, I had the pleasure of going down to Tennessee and visit the Sharp Industries there, where they were assembling photovoltaic panels, solar panels. And the individual there, I believe, was from Japan, said that he was ready to ramp up and do more, but wanted to make sure that there was also support from the local government as well as the surrounding areas that would help support that build-out. And I told him I was very encouraged by what he was doing, and I was very happy to see the diversified staff that he had on the ground.
Yeah, well, I'll run out of time here, but I'm not. Sharp is one of those Japanese companies that located in Tennessee because of the right-to-work law.
They also, Senator, had a full force of African-American workers, male and female, who happened to be represented by
But that doesn't
union.
have anything to do with the right-to-work law. I mean,
I just want to say that was my observation there.
Yeah, well, that's a good they also make solar panels. So my point is that I'm deeply concerned by the administration's seeming undermining of the right-to-work law in a number of ways, and I'm reassured by your comment that you think states ought to continue to have, under Section 14B of the Taft-Hartley Act, the right to choose to enact a right-to-work law or not to, as 22 states do. Do you believe that it is appropriate for a company to decide to locate in a state based upon the cost of labor and upon the relative number of strikes in that state? Do you believe that using those as considerations for locating a plant is a violation of federal labor laws?
Senator, I believe you're referring to the Boeing issue, and I would just clarify that that current dispute is being handled by another independent agency, and I don't have any impact with respect to that particular agency. But I do, again, want to reiterate that, as I said in my statement, I am supportive of those individuals that would choose to be associated with a union, if they choose to.
If they choose to. But you're all part of the same administration, and the same president that appointed you appointed members of the National Labor Relations Board and the acting general counsel who brought a case. Do you think it was a wise idea for a counsel to wait until our largest manufacturer, Boeing, who sells airplanes all around the world, chose to begin the first new large airplane manufacturing plant in 40 years in South Carolina, wait until that manufacturer had spent $1 billion, hired 1,000+ people, and then say you can't You can't build the plant there, or you can't open the plant there unless you build X number of planes in Washington State and X number of planes in South Carolina. Is that the kind of policy that will create an environment in the United States where we can create the largest number of good new jobs for middle-income families?
Senator, I am very supportive of creating good jobs, particular middle-class jobs. I think that's what the thrust of this hearing is about. And as I said earlier, you're talking about a case that is not under my current jurisdiction. It is with the NLRB, and I can't comment on what their current case is being undertaken at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My time has expired.
Thank you. And now Senator Hagan. Okay, Senator Bennett. And Senator Murray.